after what I saw last night and what I saw in the highlights of Blake Bortles against Tampa in his first preseason game, what are they waiting for? Yes, I would start Blake Bortles. And I told you before the draft, I wasn't exactly sure what to make of Blake Bortles because, like you, I only closely watched the one game, Baylor, the bowl game. He threw a lot of swing passes, short passes with a lot of yak yards, yards after catch. He actually ran with the ball at least as well as he threw the ball against Baylor. So I wasn't sure. And I will be the first to point out that, yes, he has played mostly against backups as he came in after Chad Henne against Tampa and then obviously after Chad Henne last night in Chicago. But I got to tell you, Stephen A., this young man is playing with extreme confidence and extreme command of that offense. He's big, he's extremely mobile, and he's been pretty accurate, and because he's making such quick and efficient and right decisions, his arm strength or lack thereof has not been an issue. Obviously, Peyton Manning doesn't have the strongest arm. I'm not comparing him to Peyton, but in this case, Blake is playing the offense so crisply and cleanly that the arm strength is not an issue. He's got a pretty good arm. It's not as good as Johnny's arm, but it's good enough. So to me, you owe it, Jacksonville, to your fans to go ahead and start Blake Bortles.
Skip Bayless, I respectfully disagree, but not for the reasons that you think. Blake Bortles is talented. I believe you'll discover that his strength, his arm strength is better than you originally thought and anticipated. I definitely think that, and everybody knows he's the future. Certainly Chad Henne knows that he's the future. Their performances were comparable, so that alone would give you indications that Bortles should start. But I keep bringing up the fact that this is the sport of football. It's incredibly physical, and we have to take into account what you're putting around Blake Bortles before you're going to insert him in there. Now, if you look at Jacksonville and some of the moves that they made, they obviously buffered their front line, their offensive line a bit with Beatles. They got him from Denver. You got Jokel, he's still there. You got Linder and these boys. So you understand that they invested some money and they really made the offensive line of extreme importance. That was a very, very good thing. Maurice Jones-Drew is gone. Who do you have now? I mean, you got Toby Gerhardt from Minnesota. I mean, give me a break. Who are you throwing it to? Who's Cecil Short? Okay. I mean, you look at some of these guys, whether it's Cecil Short, whether it's the rookie Marquise Lee, whether it's Mercedes Lewis. All I'm saying to you, the people that you're surrounding him with, the Jacksonville Jaguars was such a joke. They lost to 7 playoff teams last year by 16 points or more. This is a team that was lucky to win the 4 games it won. They were competitive at times, but sometimes they were god-awful. So in the end, I just look at them and I say, defensively, I expect them to be better because of who the 2 dudes that they add in, and Clemens and Bryant from Seattle alone is going to make them better. But at the same time, I look at them offensively, and to me, at least let those other folks get something, get some footing going, get themselves acclimated, see what they can do, and get Bortles ready, because I don't want to throw him into the lion's den from opening tap when the rest of the guys around him may be subpar at best. I just don't know if you jeopardize your future franchise quarterback that way. That's my reservation.
Look, this franchise is still a little gun-shy over what happened with Blaine Gabbert, another ill-fated first-round pick of theirs. And you remember, they threw Blaine Gabbert right into the fire, and he went right up in smoke. But at least I'm not being a hypocrite here, because I said before that draft, Blaine Gabbert is not a starting NFL quarterback. This kid Bortles clearly has that potential. I'm not going to say he's going to be great or very good. I think he could be pretty good at best. That's what I think. Pretty good, but he can be a starting quarterback, and he will be much better than Blaine Gabbert ever thought about being. So now that, Stephen A., I think you're underestimating how many nice pieces are in place for Jacksonville. And even though they lost Justin Blackman, obviously, is their big-time receiver, Marquise Lee is pretty good. I think Cecil Shorts is pretty good. So I think Blake Bortles would be able to operate quite nicely and maturely and not go up in smoke with the talent around him. I think it's good enough for them to be pretty good and certainly better with Blake than they would be with Chad Henne.
I certainly didn't mean to poo-poo anything about Cecil Short. I know he can play, and I certainly didn't mean to come across that way. And I think Marquise Lee has a lot of promise. I watched him at USC and some of the things that he could do. I got a lot of faith in him, but he's still a rookie, and he's not Sammy Watkins. Let's be clear. So when you combine that with the reality that you're putting a new offensive line together, where you have a questionable running game at best, because it's one thing for Gerhard to be behind Adrian Peterson. It's another thing for him to be the primary back that you get the game plan for. Emmitt Smith taught us that years ago. It's an entirely different scenario altogether when you are the man that they're practicing and prepping for. So all those things being considered, I'm saying, what's wrong with putting Henne out there? He's well respected. I know he's only 18 and 32 as a starter. I know he's got 55 career touchdowns with 62 career interceptions. There's nothing impressive about any of those numbers. But he does have pocket presence. He can make the throws. He is experienced. He's respected as somebody who's a leader and stands tall in the huddle. All of those things being considered, him also knowing that he's just there setting the stage for Bortles to take over, I see no reason why you can't wait the first 4 to 6 games before you put Bortles in there, because it ain't like you going to the playoffs anyway if you Jacksonville right now. You got a long ways to go before all of that.